Hey, welcome back to Sessions. We've got an episode for you. It's Benj Miller and co-host McKenzie Decker. Maybe I'm the co-host. I think I'm the co-host. McKenzie Decker with co-host me. We're gonna have a good one today. We're doing a soul dive, and the conversation today is around growth, growing the work and growing the people, and maybe some of the emotions therein. So let's start there. So McKenzie, what do many founders, C-suite operators, what do they underestimate about the emotional toll of scaling? Because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants like this hyper growth, like whether it's growth, hyper growth, scaling, whatever it is, that's what everybody's after. And they think that, well, like if we have that, it's going to be easy because we're in growth mode, right?
Yeah. Since and part of the reason we started System and Soul is the tension here between these two things. It's like, how do we have healthy people and how do we have a growing business at the same time? And a lot of times, I guess it feels like those things are at odds or one is at risk or something. But as far as founders or executives underestimating the toll, and I think the first thing that when you ask me that comes to mind is like oftentimes I think like you said, everybody wants scale, everybody wants growth, but I don't know that, and we've experienced this where it's like, what is growth for? Like, are we clear on, are we growing for growth's sake? Are we like, what is the growth for and what direction are we going? Because if that's not clear, I think there's an emotional toll no matter what. But I think that it's even harder when you really don't know, like, is it just so we can have $10 more million in the bank, and like then what? Like then you're just on to the next 10 million or 50 million or whatever it is, and it's just this endless game that's never fulfilling. So I think it's important to know why growth matters. Where is growth taking us, in order to really properly evaluate the trade-offs there.
One of the things that we're about, and I think you do as our operator so well, is manage the tension of the business growing and the people needing to grow. Because often it's an either or, and like once the company gets growing, like the people and investing in the people and all of that fits in the margins to which there are none, right? And so all that becomes nice to have, and there'll be a season, we'll get to that when we get to it, and then it never actually comes around, and then some of those people are gone and you start to see the atrophy from that. You manage that really well. Is it just discipline or is it something else from you?
Well, as host of this podcast, no, I'm just kidding. Let me tell you, co-host. No, that's a huge compliment. I mean, I that means a lot to me, and that's helped. Like, really, it's just great feedback for me to know that stands out. I think balancing it. I think maybe it's just how people like me, like the operator types. I have a sense of responsibility for the business, but I also feel a great responsibility for the people. Like, I feel like those things are equally weighted on my on my responsibilities list.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think I just inherently don't see them as working separately, and it has to be like it's like two cogs that push together. Like they've got to work well together for it to be a success. So um, and one thing I'll say on that I'm learning recently, I think you hear this all the time or see it, like as businesses grow quickly, the people that you need in the beginning may not be the people that are there at scale. Oftentimes they're not. And I mean, we help teams through that kind of transition all the time. And one of the biggest changes is like who's sitting on the leadership team or who's in the organization, because the roles change, and so does the need of the organization and what someone really wants out of their work. But one of the things I'm learning with that is like, especially if we're aiming for high growth, I think we have to set and reset extremely clear expectations. Like expectations for what it's going to look like to work in this business, expectations for what you're responsible for, expectations for what you're responsible for 90, it's been 90 days and it's changed, or like there's got to be this ongoing thing that we're matching and rematching. Like, hey, does this role, are you still happy in this role? Is this working for who you are and what you want? This is what the organization needs now. How are we aligning? And we actually, I mean, I don't know how we could share this or if we could, but John Ott, we did a workshop with him last week, and he had 6 insanely good questions about this to like do the reevaluation process. So maybe we can share that, but I'm definitely still learning all this.
I know you sent out recently a more thorough than normal pre-work for our quarterly coaching. And my initial instinct was like, oh man, this is a lot. Oh man, didn't we just have quarterly coaching? We could probably do this every 6 months. Like I caught myself thinking that, and then I'm like, no, like that's exactly the trap that you fall into.
Yeah.
Deprioritizing this because there's something more urgent. It's a really great example of the important versus the urgent.
Yeah, I really don't know how to, and this is one of those things, like, I'm not really sure where I learned this, but I think we really have to believe that the clarity for business growth and the clarity for people growth have to both be there for it to be successful. And we can't like, it's so easy to forego the people stuff. And we're like, everybody's fine, they're happy, we don't need to talk about it. And it's like, well, do we actually know that? So
that's interesting because we were just having a conversation about high capacity leaders and them defaulting to just doing it instead of slowing down to teach and coach and whatever. And this is probably another place that shows up, right? Is like, if I take time to stop and spend 90 minutes with every one of my direct reports, plus the pre-work, plus the post-work, and, really honor them with that time and coach them up, it's a big investment. Mm-hmm. But if I don't do it, then I'm staying the center of the universe and still having to do all of those things that I wish my team would step up and do.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you on that, because I mean, I think I'm on the side of, generally, I'm the one on the side of slowing down to do it well. And if I had an extra day a week, it would be probably for people conversations, I would maximize all of this if I could. But I mean, I know you move really fast and you've built organizations where you had to move really fast. And I think you think and act really quickly because you have high discernment and high invention. So have you ever realized that you were building the system faster than your team could grow into it, or building the business faster than your team could grow into it? And what did you kind of do about that?
I don't know about faster, but definitely with less clarity. Like we were moving so fast. We were moving so fast. We didn't take the time to get clear. And man, that has all kinds of problems to it. People frustrated, the issues, problems that you're trying to solve, continually coming back, we maybe make progress here, but we should have been making progress there. So you've got like this just not alignment of resources and focus and people. So yeah, I've done that a lot of times. I'm not sure it was ever because we were growing so fast externally. I think they were probably more a result of me just being more frenetic, less self-control from myself.
Yeah, no, that's very good, honest of you, and self-reflective. But I also wonder, I think half the battle sometimes is you've got someone, and like in your case, there's so often, I know that you see something that I'm not even going to see. You will see something that I won't see for 12 months. And by the time I see it, you're like, McKenzie, I've been waiting here, and you're so patient with us. But like, I kind of want like the visionary point of view on this, because you see the growth. I think you see paths to growth easily. And I think a lot of founders do see opportunities and paths for growth. So how does a team like pace well with that and ask for what they need, or like understand where that visionary is coming from?
Wow, there's a lot here. That's really good. And I'm thinking about the team I was with this week, where the visionary is way, way out in front of the team. And for a long time, it created a lot of distrust because it felt like a lack of respect for the priorities of the moment. And so through some great conversations, through some healing, through some success of getting some reps, some successful reps, it's a different vibe now where he's still way, way, way out in front, but there's a much healthier conversation of where are we now? What do we need to do now? As we're looking out that way, the team can respect that we're looking out that way. And he has respect that we're doing this right now. And so there's, Jason, that was my operator for a long time. He was the first one that I feel like hacked the matrix to where every time I would bring a new idea, he would just go, man, that's a great idea. Let me put that on our opportunities list or our future opportunities list, and we'll talk about it at the quarter. And so I felt validated that he heard my idea. I felt extra validated because he lied to me and told me it was a good idea. And he was just playing me and saying, hey, we'll put that on the list. And when it's time to figure out what our priorities for the next quarter, the next year are, we'll have that conversation. Eventually I figured out what he was doing, but the irony is that it didn't bother me. Like, I'm like, no, that's brilliant. You should keep doing that, because it satisfied my need for that ideation. And the idea wasn't lost. It wasn't, if he just said, we'll talk about that later, I'd be frustrated. But the fact that it had a place to live until a future date. And the reality is, by the time we got to that future date, 80% of those ideas are trash. And I'm not as like gung ho on the other 20%. They've settled a little bit. And so even if they are, maybe the urgency that I felt when I had the idea has dissipated a little bit. So I think that's part of where the patience comes from. Honestly, I think some of it's just maturing into older age and into like time slows down a little bit. Like, it's okay if something takes 6 months or a year when that would have seemed like forever a decade ago or 2 decades ago. So some of it feels like a maturing with age.
Yeah. Shout out to Jason. He's my pseudo mentor for
Yeah.
What do you think? Okay, sorry, I have some more questions for you, but I am curious, like, for that team that you were with, you identified that they had this tension. So where did they realize, like, was it in the room? Was there a question, or was there did someone in the room go, hey, like, I see this problem? Or like, how did you make them aware of it so they could deal with it?
Some of it was exploring the different like strengths that each person brings to the room. Some of it was even that we kind of just touched on it, but the room realizing that not every idea is a mandate.
Yeah.
So ideation's just ideation. Like, we're just brainstorming. We're just coming up with ideas, where some of the people in the room were picking up this like anxiety of like, oh, we've got to go execute on this. Like, no, we're just brainstorming right now. Like, nobody even said this was a good idea, let alone we're going to do it. And so there just became a lot more freedom to like just explore those conversations and let them work, like trust that they would work through a process with the whole team and not just a mandate from one person of like, hey, we're going to go do this crazy thing.
That's really, I feel like that one thing is such an unlock for a team to be like, is this, I mean, the way I think of it is, are we discussing this? Have we decided this?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Am I part of the conversation this is happening or not? Or are you telling me that it's already happened and it's underway and we work from there? So
you and I have had to figure that out. I know just recently, like, you brought me some stuff and I went straight into ideation mode, and you weren't asking for ideation. You were just telling me what was going to happen. And you felt like I was undermining your decision. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was a decision. Of course, I thought you wanted ideation because that's what I do. So.
And then you gave me good feedback then too, because you were like, I think you said something like, I'm like, well, this is what I was thinking and this is what I was going to do. And you're like, well, were you that definitive when we talked about it the first time? And I'm like, oh, shoot, I don't think so. I was probably like, so I was thinking this and we might do this. And so it came across probably like I needed I needed help deciding. So a lot of good stuff there.
When you do such a good job coaching our people, I don't know that we actually have anybody like this right now. I hope not. But one of the lessons that I've learned over and over and over, the painful way, is that you can't want more for somebody than they want for themselves.
Yeah.
How do you, when you're coaching, manage that tension when you can like see somebody's potential and you want so much for them, but they're kind of good, just they don't really have many dreams or aspirations. They're kind of good.
Oh my gosh, that is so hard. I mean, I'm thinking over my time just leading teams and what that's looked like. And I mean, I do think that there is just a hard truth of like, not everybody is going to be up for expanding their capacity. Like sometimes I think that's seasonal. And they're like, look, my life is blown up in some other ways. We've got a new baby, or we've got a job transition, a sick parent or something. And it's like, I can't handle more new whatever. Like that's a thing. And I think we have to just be very respectful of that and work with it. I think when someone kind of, I don't know, refuses growth in some way, I don't think we're ever going to be able to force it upon them. I think that this may be what, outside of the coaching conversation, which I'll get to that, but I think we have to this is again, going back to setting really clear expectations. Like if we need someone to play a role in a certain way or to show up with a certain capacity, then we need to make them aware of what is required and what is necessary and needed. And I don't think that conversation has to be like laying down the law with anyone. I think that can honestly be like, I don't think I've been clear about what we really need here. And I really need to be like, I really want to be clear with you because I want you to win. And I want to make sure that this works for you for where you're at. And I've had those conversations, and trying to be completely open-handed on, this is what we need for our business. Is this what the job that you want? Like, is this the kind of job that you want? Where are you with that? And then the other thing I wanted to say on the coaching front, one of the things that I think we have to ask before we ever kind of push people on their capacity is like, do I even have the permission and the trust with this person to be someone who can do that? Mm. Like, I think I would be very careful. I'm like, do I stand by this and believe it? I think I'd be very careful to unless it's I'm not even talking about task focused things. It's like, if I need someone to level up in a certain way and how they're showing up or the character or whatever, like I got to make sure that I put in the hours and the reps with them to really build trust before I do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right, I've got one more question.
Okay.
I'm going to put you on the spot with this one.
Oh, God.
If you had to defend the ROI of developing people when the business is moving really, really fast.
Defend the ROI?
Yeah. How would you do it?
Defend the ROI. Well, this is like something, I think developing people is compounding interest. And so we have to look at, just like we said before, slowing down to develop those people creates more capacity for the business. Maybe not tomorrow, but definitely 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now. And it creates a different culture inside of an organization to have that kind of, downstream push for growth and ownership. And I think overall it helps us speed up. So that would be my argument for, we have to invest. It's planting the tree today, for the thing that we want 20 years from now.
Yeah, for sure.
What, I'm just curious in general, like, you have these conversations all the time where it's this tension between the system and the people. What I mean, what do you say to that? Like, how with the clients that you were working with now and the founders that you're around all the time, how do you see them thinking about it, and how do you help them see the ROI?
I think it's what you said. Maybe I'll say it differently, but every company needs a strategy to build the capacity for their future growth.
Mm.
So if we're growing, then tomorrow we need more capacity than we have today. And if we're not developing our people for that capacity, then we better have another strategy that's better.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Really good. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking about this all day, every day, as long as we're running System and Soul. So until next time, you guys, thank you for joining us for this episode of Sessions, and thanks to Fist Bumps for bringing this content to you. And I hope that we see you again next week for our next episode. Have a good